fond farewell to our millions of fans on Google+. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 8:24 p.m. Pacific. That makes it 11:24 p.m. Eastern. And O The Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us for episode 235 of the O The Anthem podcast. Yes.
Thank you very much for watching the live stream, downloading the podcast on your podcatcher of choice, and leaving ratings and reviews because that helps other people find the show. Which is something that's important to us.
And, of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Instagram, where you would have seen us talk about this in a story. On Twitter, where you would have seen a tweet with a link to this video. Or on Facebook.com/O The Anthem, where you're hopefully watching the video live right now. If you want to be a part of the show, whether it's right now or later on in the week when you listen on your podcatcher, you can call the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
Yes, and once again, that graphic we have there with the Google Plus no longer applies. Google Plus is no more because...
See, I thought it was still active. It's just not going to be updated anymore.
No. They found that there was a massive...
data leak?
Security breach or like a security problem in it.
Yeah.
And rather than fix it, they're just like, nah, you know what? We're done.
Probably good.
They
Probably
just cut
good.
it.
So if I go to plus.google.com right now.
I haven't checked, but I would imagine it would be some sort of like, sorry.
Nope.
No, it's still up. Wow.
Still up.
So,
oh, wait. Continue. Let's see what it says. We're discovering this live with you guys. Apparently, we can
Google Plus
can still opt into things. It looks like it's more newsy now and less.
This is how it's been for a little while.
Has it?
Yeah.
I have not gone to check it in a while. Let's see. I follow Vulture. I follow NASA, the Free Thought Project.
See, I assumed it was gone. That's why I made the millions of fans on Google Plus joke.
Well, I mean,
because I figured nobody would go to check.
And here I am checking.
Really...
Wait, let's look at my profile.
How many people do you have?
I have 60 followers.
What?
Oh, from all of my Rob reviews. Oh man, how long ago are these?
Oh, God.
Jesus. All right. Yeah, a long time ago. Movie Pass. Oh, one of my most popular ones. Movie Pass. Where I reviewed Movie Pass. Yeah. Well, speaking of reviews, Corey's got a brand new review out right now.
I do.
Yeah.
And another one will be dropping tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully tomorrow I'm going to go see a movie, and then we can get another new one this week.
Yes.
Probably A Star Is Born.
Oh, I've already seen.
That's what I imagine I'm going to go see.
I've already seen A Star Is Born, so you'll be watching that by yourself.
Yeah, that's
Maybe I'll go see Venom.
Yeah, that's fine. You can go see Venom.
You don't want to see Venom?
I haven't heard great things.
You haven't heard great things for the largest October opening in history.
That doesn't mean that the movie's good.
I am such a hater. Well, I meant that you have other advice out right now. Where might people find other advice from you?
Oh, yes. I did a blog post, a guest blog post on stage32.com, which if you don't know is sort of like the Facebook for film people.
Or the Google Plus for film people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever popular social network you want to ascribe to the film people. But yep, I wrote a blog post about getting the best sound on set for people who aren't necessarily sound people, and what to listen for and what to look out for. And people seem to enjoy it. So you can go to any one of my social media platforms or the O The Anthem, Facebook or Twitter. Find it there. It's the ultimate guide to... I didn't like the headline that they put on there at all.
Lesson learned. Writers do not pick headlines.
Yeah, that's something that people may not know. Like if you write a thing on an article, then
your editor picks the headline.
Yes,
unfortunately. So
what is it here? Hold on.
Scanning, and I'm filling time. How about that?
Here it is.
Stage 32. Everybody should join. By the way, if you join Stage 32, both Corey and I are on it. So
the ultimate 5-step sound guide for great sound on set. Too many sounds.
There's a lot of sound in that.
And the fact that they have ultimate in brackets is a little like...
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Especially because I didn't plan on making it the ultimate guide to sound.
Yeah.
That would be...
Just a journeyman's
10,000 10,000 paragraphs long of like...
Well, okay. Diving right in.
Yes.
Step 1. What is sound? Well, we had that same problem today when we were talking about a company I work for is Create, and you can't talk about creating accounts in Create. The word having the company name be Create complicates things because then you end up using create in too many. Like the name of the account is create, and then create's also the company, and we're creating the create account on the create side. We were creating the create account on the create side, just so you know. So
I also find that there was a part of me writing that article that was like making sure that I wanted to do something that was easy enough for somebody who didn't know anything about sound to read and sort of like get the sense of like things they might not have thought about. You don't need to understand like how sound waves reproduce and like how you record them and everything like that. You just need to basically know, the ins and outs of what's going on.
Basic advice. Get a sound guy on your set.
I mean, it's like, I can explain cars to you, but then the more I get into like, and then with every single fire, the piston moves, like that's a little bit too inside baseball for some people.
Okay.
If you just say like, you step on the gas and then it moves forward, then that's something everyone can understand, you know?
Yeah.
So, and there's a part that if you get too into the weeds of it, I was worried that other sound guys would come out of the woods. And
listen.
So like, I follow, there's a Facebook group I follow called Boom Operators. And a lot of people share pictures of them booming out on set.
Yeah.
Like usually if it's like some really cool location or something like that. And without fail, every single picture, even if it looks like perfectly right, like
elbows a little low.
Technique is, I wouldn't do my elbow at a 45-degree angle like that. It's a little bit, you're not getting the best sound profile by doing it that way. Or somebody will be like, hey, think you can get any closer to that guy with that mic? And it's just like all you haters.
1%ers.
Yeah.
The internet is nothing but 1%ers.
But that's the sound people too. They always like to come in and like, oh my God, you're using a Sennheiser 416 and on an outside shoot inside of a blimp? What are you, a maniac? It's like, oh, sorry.
Well, I would like to go. So make sure you go to Stage 32. Add Corey as a friend. Add me as a friend. Check out Corey's story. Or his article. Not a story. Article.
My blog post.
Yeah. And as I said, he is a bit of a journeyman. Some might call him an expert. So let's transition to something in which he's clearly not an expert. Fantasy football. OTA Bowl this week.
Yeah.
How'd that work out? Woo, doggy. It's not often you get a 90-point victory. An 80-point victory. An 82-point victory. Not often that an 82-point victory occurs. And when it does, oh boy, it's a sweet victory.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you just open up your fantasy football app and you just see 20s and 20s and 20s and 20s, and you know it's just going to be such a good week. And you look at your kicker, and your kicker's got 8 points. And you're like, oh, I'm so disappointed in you, Chris Boswell.
Yeah, 5
How
points.
many points? Is it 5?
Yeah.
Even worse. But then you look at Adam Thielen and with his 24 and, Ben Roethlisberger with
as Rob is enjoying his life right now.
and the goose eggs on the other side. That's the best part. The goose eggs.
So here's the thing. I feel like if I had most of the weeks this year I've been scoring between like 120, 130 something points.
Sure. Still not enough to beat me this week.
No. But I'm saying like if I had 120 or 130 points, like I have been recently, and I lose to you, then I think I feel worse than I do right now.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like, in my mind at least, there was enough things that happened this week that made me feel like this just wasn't going to happen one way or the other. I was just snake bit. And
you can excuse it, yeah. Clearly.
I mean, even if every single other player on my team put up points like they have all season, and only Brandon Cooks was eliminated with an injury in the first play and scored 0 points, then
still couldn't win.
At least I could say to myself like, oh man, it just wasn't my week.
Yeah. But you still wouldn't have won.
I still wouldn't have won. But I mean, like, it's almost easier to take the loss when you know there's nothing you could have done to change the outcome. Like, there wasn't like points on my bench,
Right.
Like
Here's what I'm gonna say.
The only thing
there are some weeks that are better than others. When somebody on Thursday night has a good Thursday and they start talking shit to you, and then you decimate them at the 1 o'clock hour.
I didn't talk shit.
No. This was Rob Clark last week.
Oh,
Rob Clark,
okay.
who on Thursday is like, oh, Cheek's in trouble on Thursday. And then the 1 o'clock hour, decimated. And then the 4 o'clock hour, I just know that he's like sitting there like, all right, boys. Okay. We still got a chance to pull this out. I got 3 players left on the field.
All I need is Nathan Peterman to throw for 8 touchdowns.
Yes, I'm in a good spot. I need Carson Wentz to show up, give me the game of his life, give me 45 points.
He's not even starting. I need him to start and get 8
I need
touchdowns.
him to start first, and then give me some points. So that's especially sweet, but it's even sweeter. When you wake up 11 o'clock. Don't even adjust your lineup on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even care. Devil may care attitude. And you just go about your Sunday. And when you get home on Sunday night, the 8 o'clock Eastern games are done by 8 o'clock Pacific. And you just open the app and you're like, whoo!
Yeah.
170 points.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, sometimes you...
Sometimes you just like to rub it in.
My general rule with fantasy football has always been, it's a week-to-week game.
You win 52, you lose 52.
Well, that doesn't apply anymore. Because as the Orioles proved this year, you don't even need to win the 54.
Sometimes you can't even win the 54. Sometimes you only win 52, and it's a little short.
Sometimes you only win 47.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, but I mean, like, at its base, fantasy is a week-to-week game.
Sure.
So, I mean, like, part of the idea is that you want to have a team strong enough to compete every single week of the season. And maybe you have somebody on your team that you had Jameis. You drafted Jameis.
I did.
Even though he was suspended for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yes.
But you said to yourself, he's not worth anything to me in the first 4 weeks. He's not going to give me points, but maybe later in the season.
Oh, in my other league, I have Le'Veon Bell sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, why don't you just dump him? I'm like, because it's Le'Veon Bell. And if he comes in, I don't know, week 13, he'll still give me a push to the playoffs.
Right. So, I mean, like, it's one of those things like, Jameis doesn't help you in the first 4 weeks, but perhaps, weeks 10 through 16 or something like that, he gives you big points.
I don't think he will, though. I think
Ryan
Fitzpatrick's going to end up. That was a wasted pick. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick showed the fuck up in Tampa Bay. So.
But, I mean, like, hypothetically.
Oh, yeah.
And, every single week, not every week is going to be your winning week. Mm-hmm. The idea is to generally, for me, my whole goal is to get somewhere around 120 points.
Okay.
Because I think that's the number where the average victory is in fantasy football.
Sure.
If you get to 120 points, you usually win. Sometimes you'll score 120 and you'll lose to somebody who has 170. Nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll score 100 points and you'll still beat the person that you're playing because they have a terrible week.
Sometimes you'll score 90 points and you'll still win. You get 90 to 88. I don't know how that happened, but sure.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I'll take it a lucky day. Sure.
But I mean, like, I sometimes the gods don't look in your favor, and that's sort of what happened this week, and I'm fine with it. I'm okay.
Good news is it's the OTA.
I can wait until the end of the season, see how this all settles out. See
we play
who
again,
makes the
though.
playoffs.
We
I don't
play
think
again
we do.
before. No?
No,
because it's such a huge. God damn it! Because the league is so huge. Yeah, there's a chance.
I think we'd only meet again in the playoffs if that were to allow.
But I mean, I play somebody twice because there's only 14 teams, and there's 13 weeks before we go to the playoffs. So you play everybody once.
Hold on a second. Let me
Pretty
just
sure.
make sure.
Right, 13 weeks, and then 3 weeks of playoffs. So, yeah.
10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's 13 weeks of the regular season.
Yep.
So I would just play every team once.
Yeah, that's how we do.
Yep.
So I have beat you in our one matchup this year.
Yeah.
Because God knows you're not making the playoffs. Won our matchup this year.
Listen, right now I'm in 5th.
Right, where am I?
First.
That's right, I am. Points scored. And do I have the best record too?
Well, you're tied for the best record, but you're winning on points right now.
By
I don't know.
What's the?
Oh, a lot. Like 30 points before this week's 170.
How much?
30 points
Woo.
before this week's.
I'm up to it. See, I'm going to enjoy this now because God knows the wheels are going to come off right around week 10. That's when everything's going to fall apart. So.
Let's see here. Just out of curiosity, let's see where. Oh, you see. So here's an example of it. I talk about the 120 points.
Yes.
Maggie, who is the other undefeated team in the league right now,
yes,
won again. So you're both going to be 5-0.
Right.
because something tells me I'm not making a comeback. In this.
Do you have anybody playing right now?
No.
Okay, well, that could be why.
I'm just saying, like, maybe there was a scoring adjustment or something.
Oh,
like that.
sure, yeah. Maybe a scoring adjustment in the morning.
Maybe Brandon Cooks did have a catch, and they decided to charitably just give him 170 points for that catch. No, but she won 91-86.
Right.
So she didn't get the 120 points that would normally get you a victory.
Right.
But it didn't matter for her in this week because...
Oh, and she's the next that means I'm going to put up 60 points on her in a victory this week.
No, you're going to put up 80 points.
Oh.
You're going to add 80 points to your 30-point lead. So you're going to be up 110 or so.
That's a good week.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's perfectly. You know what? I really do think that of all the teams in this league, me and you have the best wide receivers
put together
of any squad.
I mean, got so much shit talk from the East Coasters about like, oh, Adam Thielen. Why did you go reach for Adam Thielen?
Because
18 points a week.
Because he saved you last year. That's why you did it.
Yes, because he was my sleeper pick last year, and he worked out for me, and he's got Kirk Cousins, and Kirk knows where his bread is buttered.
Anywho.
And I have Stephon Diggs in my other league, so I'm like, either way, I'm going to win. So.
Moving on to real sports.
Yeah, so apparently Marty Morningweg.
And other managers who didn't.
Yeah, Marty Morningweg, who went to the Corey Baker School of Offensive Coordinating. The Ravens didn't do so well this week in a embarrassing 12-9 loss.
You know what?
That 9, I mean, I didn't watch the game. As I said, I slept in. I'm assuming that was all field goals.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't even put up a touchdown on the Browns.
Well, what really... I know that people are going to give Crabtree shit, and I've already started giving Crabtree shit, but just having watched this game, I would like to say that it seems like the Ravens just thought they were going to win the whole time. Like they were the better team, but they never like put the foot down and stepped on the Browns' throat per se.
We can score whenever we want.
Yeah.
So
it's like, eventually we're just gonna get a touchdown. I don't know why we're all so concerned about this shit right now. So, but you know what?
How'd that work out?
I just fear that this loss is going to be the thing that makes the Ravens 9-7 as opposed to 10-6.
Yeah.
And maybe that 9-7 is the thing that keeps you out of we would have been 9-7 if we beat the Browns, and now we're 8-8.
Yep.
And we look back at the season and we're just
that
oh
Browns.
man,
That 12.
we would have gotten that Browns game.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see. It's a long season.
Or
nobody's really separating themselves. The AFC's really garbage. So
yeah, but I was gonna say the good news is everybody else seems to be pretty garbage too.
yeah.
The Browns, though, I mean, it's not.
There's
the Browns aren't garbage. The Browns are doing well, but they're doing well compared to the old Browns, not compared to an average NFL team. So
you know what the Browns are like though? It's like a really good
a college team.
No. Have you ever worked at a place that all the employees who worked there were really good and they were really on it and they did their job exactly how they needed to do, and there were people who were there who were good.
Yeah.
This person could work anywhere. He's a good hard worker. But the problem is that the manager who is overseeing all you people is a complete dipshit loser.
Yeah. Yeah, I've worked
and
that place.
You're fighting against every one of these good employees is fighting against the horrible management that is keeping them from reaching their top potential. And that's kind of what the Browns were this weekend. It was I could see you're watching Baker Mayfield and you're just oh god, the Browns have a quarterback now.
Yeah.
All these comparisons that people are making to Favre and stuff like that. I totally see it. He's a good young promising prospect, and then you look over at the sideline, you see Hugh Jackson, and you're just it's all right. It doesn't matter. The Browns ain't gonna go to the playoffs anytime.
Play calling shit though. Yeah. That's the problem. So what do you do?
It's I don't know. Something tells me that we're gonna be in it with this Ravens team all year, where we're gonna walk into games and we're gonna say oh, we look like we're gonna win. It's looking promising, and then we'll lose, and then there will be weeks where it looks like we couldn't be any worse, and then we're gonna end up winning, and it's just gonna be one of those seasons where the funk is all over it, And
unfortunately, we're gonna have to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning to go watch all of these garbage games.
Not next week.
Why is that?
They're playing in the late game.
Oh, the 4:00 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So they don't have to be anywhere until 1 o'clock.
Well, are they coming out to the West Coast? Is that why?
No, they're playing Tennessee.
But Tennessee gets the late game? That's weird. That's weird. Well,
Maybe
they
it's
are in the NFC South, right?
AFC. So
AFC South? Yes. Nah, I don't know.
that's whatever.
It makes no sense. Literally, they must be looking around the
Maybe
league
there
and be
weren't.
like,
Maybe there weren't a lot of West Coast games, so
Or
they
they're
started
like-
pushing some of the.
what garbage do you want to play? I mean, at least the Ravens looking okay. How bad do you have to be?
Maybe CBS was just like, we want a late game. It's just like, well, how about the Titans and the Ravens? They're like, oh, fine.
We'll take it, I guess.
Desperate for any football.
All right, so one other bit of sad news this week.
Yeah.
The Orioles season has come to a close.
Real quick, before we get into it any further here, can I get a little bit of a drop? I know we.
Oh, we kind of just got into it.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, all the people at home, I can hear them screaming in their cars right now because. Just kidding. We don't bug your cars.
Yeah.
That's disconcerting.
Yeah. But we did go right from fantasy to real sports balls. So I guess
Yeah.
that was good. Yeah. So anyway, in sports news this week, it's just the end of an era.
Mm-hmm.
You had an interesting point though. I don't know if it was on the podcast last week or in our discussions this week about the number of players, Orioles players in the playoffs.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Was that on the podcast or was that just us talking?
I think that was just us talking.
Yeah.
Because we were watching the Dodgers game.
Yeah.
Which we were able to watch on our TV here in Los Angeles for the first time all season. Because I don't know if you know this, but it's very hard to watch the Dodgers on television.
Yeah.
Even if you live in Los Angeles, where you think you'd be able to see them all the fucking time.
Yeah. No, not that easy.
But the Dodgers and the Braves matchup had Manny Machado, Nick Markakis, Brad Brock, Kevin Gausman, Ryan Flaherty, all these former O's.
Yep.
And then if you looked around all the teams that made the playoffs, there were just former O's all over the place. Steve Pearce in Boston, Scope with the Brewers.
Yeah.
All these Wade Miley with the Brewers had a shutout or something like that this week. It's absurd the number of players who were literally on this team last year, and some of the players who were on the team earlier this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who just couldn't figure it out. Anyway, the disastrous Orioles season cost the jobs of both Dan Duquette and Buck Showalter. End of an era indeed. Do you have any initial thoughts? Any?
I mean,
How are you feel? I mean, we've had a week basically to
I'm not sad about Dan.
stew on it.
I'm not sad about Dan. 2 years ago, when he was making the move to go to Toronto, that was it for me with Dan. Couldn't give a shit less about Dan Duquette after that. I don't remember how he stayed. How is it that he stayed? They just refused to let him go?
Yeah, I mean, he was under contract, so.
That was a bad decision.
The thing was that much like in the NFL, you have to steal somebody else's coach, you have to give them a promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you wanted to hire somebody's offensive coordinator and make them your head coach, you could do that.
But you couldn't make him your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you couldn't do a lateral
Yeah.
unless you were willing to give him the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, by the way, funny. Jerry Rosberg, the special teams coach for the Ravens, is also the assistant head coach. Just because they don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
They don't want somebody else picking him off.
Only place you can go is head coach.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Jerry. No, but I think it's upsetting. I still maintain that the person who did the most in the front office to get us from hapless losers to perennial division champion or perennial playoff contenders
Do not say Dan Duquette.
was Andy McPhail.
Okay. Yes.
Because he made all the moves that helped make things happen. And not to say that Duquette didn't bring in people, obviously he signed Nelson Cruz. There were all these things that certainly helped us. Trumbo, when he originally signed, it was huge for us.
Chris Davis, when he signed a second time.
I'm just saying, I think that McPhail was really more of the thing that made the Orioles what they are.
Right.
And Duquette helped shepherd them along, but I feel like he wasn't doing enough of a job thinking ahead, thinking
Right.
about the future.
Well, and then
which
you had,
is really the problem we got into this year.
then you have Buck Showalter, who obviously can manage a team. He has managed before. He's managed fantastic teams before. And so the question is like, what was it about this? I mean, he did well. He got us to the playoffs twice, and close to the playoffs in 2 other years. Even though in 1 year, Chris Davis got a 25-game suspension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like going into the playoffs, like your number 4 hitter got a suspension for some nonsense.
that was 2014 when we also had Nick Markakis broke his wrist.
Yeah.
And Manny Machado had the knee injury, and we were not the same team in the playoffs that we were
2012
during the regular season.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
well, yeah, as well. But
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It for my take, I would have liked to have kept Buck.
yes,
I feel like maybe Buck didn't want to come back. That's always a possibility. But
yeah. I mean, you can't read into it either because again, his contract was up.
right.
It didn't get renewed. Now, whether that was, hey, listen, no matter what you offer me, I'm going back to Arizona and retiring, or was it, listen, Buck, I know that you're looking to stay, but we're not interested, or was it a mutual like, all right, we agreed 6 years ago that this was going to be 6 years and out, and we're both sticking to that 6 years and out.
Or I just think that the Orioles think that they can go a completely different direction, and I think that's what they're going for essentially.
Rebuilding from
I
the
mean,
ground up.
This season alone we have Alex Cora and what's his name, Boone, with the Red Sox and Yankees. First year managers, both of them, former players who are basically just doing the bidding of the GM, just looking at the stats and being like, all right, well, the overwhelming statistical advantage is to do this or to have the shift like this. So I'm just going to tell all my players to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about like, Buck's more of the manager who's just like, I got a feel for, like, I don't care about your chart that's saying that after 100 pitches, Dylan Bundy isn't the same guy. I think I can still see it in his eyes. He's got it. He's got the grit. So I'm going to keep him in the game.
Which is great when it works out, and bad when he gets the shit knocked out of him and gives up the game-winning hit.
See, I mean, I think the thing that I always enjoyed about Buck, besides the fact that he was a really smart baseball manager, is that he did a lot of little things that nobody would recognize and no other managers would really do, but you'd hear about Buck doing it, and you'd just be like, God, he's such a damn baseball genius. Specifically, I remember early on, like one of the first games that he managed for the Orioles, he wanted to bring in a new pitcher quickly. Things had unraveled.
Yeah.
And he wanted to bring in a reliever.
Was
but
that
the reliever,
Ubaldo?
I don't remember who. It was probably pre-Ubaldo, but...
Which of the terrible pitchers of the last 6 years of Orioles history was it?
He was bringing in a pitcher to relieve the starter.
Yeah.
And he wasn't quite warmed up yet. And when the pitcher comes out from the bullpen and throws the pitches on the field, you're only supposed to get like 10 of them.
10. Yep.
8 or 10.
Yep.
But Buck decided to go out there and have a conversation with the home plate umpire to allow the pitcher to get an extra like 5 or 6 pitches in.
Yeah.
So he just went out there and asked him about something like not related to like, he's just like, hey, real quick, can I get a clarification on one of these ground rules? And then they started talking, and while that was happening, he got the extra pitches in. And then he's just like, all right, thank you, see ya. And then at the end of the game, like when they did the post-game press conference, Buck admitted it, like, I just went out there to talk to him so he could get more pitches. I'm just like, that's the type of thing that, like, you wouldn't hear from, like, Dusty Baker isn't doing that.
No.
Dusty Baker isn't like, I got a really good scheme to get extra pitches out of extra warm-up pitches. Like, Buck's the only guy who would do that sort of thing. And for that, I will miss. And
sometimes he's just going out to get thrown out. Like, I don't see... It's interesting you say the player managers, because, like, Terry Francona sometimes, I would see the, like... Oh, he's just going out there to get thrown out.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of the new generation of managers, they go out there and fight, but you can see that they're hitting that point where they're like, all right, this is enough. I'm going to go back in.
Let's see how close I can get to getting thrown out without getting thrown out.
Right.
Yeah.
And Buck will sometimes, like, as he exits the dugout, we're like, he's about to get thrown out. Like, he's just going out there to get thrown out of the game.
Yeah.
And you don't see, I think that's the old generation of manager, and we're shifting to Moneyball. You're Jonah Hill from Moneyball. But
Yeah, I mean,
as the manager, who's just like, all right, so statistically, the shift is better if we go, third baseman to the middle of the diamond. So
well,
third
I mean,
baseman to
like
the middle of the diamond.
at the end of the day, with the numbers and stuff like that in baseball, it feels kind of like giving direct. Like if I told you, hey, you could get to your work a lot quicker if you drove Sunset the whole way, and you'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, I've broken down all the numbers, and the 101 when you leave for work every single day adds an extra +7.
Mm-hmm.
And if you took Sunset, it would only be 5 minutes longer. So you would get there 2 minutes earlier if you in fact just took Sunset as opposed to taking the 101.
Right.
And the old school manager is the guy who's like, I'm taking the 101 because it's the highway and I'm more likely to get there quicker.
Yep. Catch a wrong light on Sunset, I'm there.
Yeah.
All day.
And
By the way, I take the train to work, so
well, I know,
these
but I'm saying like,
what can you tell me about the red line, Haas? What can you tell me about the red line? That's what I want to hear.
you take the purple line and then take an Uber.
I mean, I could do that too. I just,
Take a bird scooter the rest of the way.
Oh, if I could guarantee there was a bird scooter right outside the thing, I would.
It's so funny. I don't care at all about the birds. I don't care at all about the bird scooters. But when I was coming home the other day, I saw a bird scooter right in front of the apartment.
Yeah.
And I started doing that thing in my head. I'm just like, where do I need to go?
Yeah.
Where do I need to go that I could use this bird scooter right now?
Because
the fact that it's right here, like I've never had it this close.
Do you know why it was
I looked
there?
it up once and I saw like there was a bird scooter on like 7th Street. I'm just like, I ain't going to 7th Street to get a goddamn scooter.
Did you look on the app?
Yeah.
I guarantee you battery was dead. That was it.
Oh,
the only
really?
time I've seen them in front of this building are when they run out of battery and somebody's like, all right, this is close enough.
Far as I'm
just
going.
ditch it right here. Like, I'm not taking it any farther. I walked to CVS on Saturday, and there was one. I was like, what luck. I come around the corner. There's a bird scooter. I scan it, and he's like, low battery. This one's not available. I'm like, God damn it. So I walked to CVS on my way back. There's a guy trading it out, like leaving a charged one there. I'm like, where were you 20 minutes ago?
I could have birded to the CVS.
But, and then, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to bird back because I had
Yeah.
like heavy bags and stuff, and there's no basket.
But
By the way, nobody knows what this is. A real LA conversation, real inside baseball
there's
for LA.
birds elsewhere. What's the ones in Baltimore now? Like the lime or
Lime,
something? Yeah.
limes in Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so but again, half our audience doesn't actually live in the city. They have no idea. Like maybe EP.
I think some people are aware that there are scooters out there that people can
Yes.
rent.
Yeah, Uber is starting a scooter company
Yeah.
under the name of Bird, and they're pretending it's not Uber. They're actually starting Uber scooters as well.
Yeah.
Which means they're competing against themselves in the marketplace. Go to Santa Monica; they're everywhere.
I also saw the thing about Uber doing the electronic bikes, like
Yes.
the pedal assisted bike, so you could like go up hills really easily and stuff like that. I was thinking about maybe looking. They don't have them here yet. But
Well,
like,
they
I
do.
was like,
Lime does. Lime does.
oh no, but not like the Metro bike where they have like many terminals kind of thing. Yeah.
It's just like Bird. You're like, "Meh, I'm gonna have to walk 14 blocks to catch a bike.
Maybe I'll get a bike. Maybe.
To then bike another 4 blocks.
Yeah.
That's all they need. Okay.
But I mean, like I was looking into it a little bit, and then what made me nervous was that they had all kinds of things in like their disclosure about like, if something goes wrong with the bike, you're paying for it. It's your fault. If you turn in a bike and it doesn't work properly, we reserve the right to charge you $1,600 to replace the bike. And I'm just like, I don't have to worry about this with the Metro bikes.
Yeah.
I could literally throw a Metro bike in a lake.
Meanwhile, I was gonna say in Baltimore, there were people who were just launching those bikes into the harbor.
You just throw it in a lake and just be like, no, I brought it back to the 2nd and Figueroa station. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I did like how was it Jane Miller who like started doing the come find the it wasn't Metro bike. What is in Baltimore? Whatever, the bike share.
Yeah.
Come find the bike share. And she's like, oh, here's one right off of Pier 6 in the water. She took a picture of it and like, oh, here's another one. It's missing both wheels, but the frame is right next to the Baltimore Sun building. So go find it here. Yeah. Anyway, that was Inside Baseball for Baltimore. So did you just notice that?
No, I noticed it before. I just was taking the opportunity.
Okay. So that's it for Sports Ball this week.
Yep.
Hey.
Real real
Yeah.
quick. Sorry, you said that's it for sports ball, but I did have one last thought I wanted to.
We already had the splash. I'm sorry.
No,
There's
just
nothing-
one-
There's nothing I can do.
No,
I'm sorry. We're done.
One last tiny little thought I had for you.
Okay, go ahead.
There is a potential that we may be going to Vegas at some point soon. We don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but at some point before the end of the year, I'm sure we're going to find ourselves in Vegas.
Hopefully, it's been a while.
I
Have we been this year?
yeah. Well, I've been this year. I don't know.
Have I been this year?
No, I went. The last time I went was when my dad was here.
Yes.
So
Didn't you go and come back and then go and come back?
no.
You didn't go back the second time?
I was thinking about going out there and picking him up from the airport and then hanging out for a little while and then maybe coming back and then going out for the weekend or something like that. But
yes.
then I got a job, so I couldn't go out to like pick him up at the airport.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
yes.
but-
Wait, the last time you were there was with your dad. What was the time before that? Last fall. I think
probably
last winter.
Christmas time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you dropped me off at the airport.
Yeah. And then we went to the Caps Golden Knights game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I have not been to Vegas in 2018. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's change that.
That's a long 10 months.
And when we do,
yes.
I would like to make a little suggestion.
Okay.
I say, I know there's going to be people who hear this and laugh, but let's go figure out what the odds are for the Orioles to win the American League Championship
Okay.
and put not a significant amount of money, but
The 2018 American League Championship? Because I don't think the odds are great for that.
it's not. But remember, Buck got fired by the
wait.
Yankees.
You mean the 2019?
Yeah.
I thought you were
Not
first,
this
I was
year.
just like, what kind of stupid bet? Vegas is just like, yeah. Now we'll take how much? Okay, you lose. Sorry.
Your odds are 50 billion to 1. I'm just like, oh, I like that
I
money.
like it.
Oh,
I'll do
sorry,
a
you
dollar.
lost.
I'll do $1 on that. Yeah, and then jokes on them. All the teams at AL East, turns out they've all been cheating.
Yeah.
Black Sox scandal.
Yeah.
We're in.
No, but I just remember, Buck gets fired by the Yankees.
Yeah,
Yankees go on to win the World Series the next year.
they did.
Buck goes to Texas, and after he's let go, they go to the World Series the next year.
They lost though,
They lost, though.
but they did go.
They did go. Arizona,
Mhm.
he's let go, and then they win the World Series the next year.
Right.
So clearly, next year the Orioles will be at least going to the World Series, which is why I'm saying
Championship Series.
I mean, like maybe we can hedge a little bit on
Yeah.
some money for the World Series, but at least the biggest part of the pot should go to winning the American League
yeah.
because Buck's gone. So now, what's
Clearly, it's our time.
Clearly, no matter what you've seen on the field, doesn't matter.
And I don't know what
There
team
are
they're
bigger
going to.
forces at play.
I don't know what team they're going to field next year because most of the players are gone. But, you know
But I'm
what?
saying, like,
Are
you
two-
buy in now because the odds for next year for the Orioles to win the American League. If we went to Vegas right now and I wanted to put in 2019 odds on the Orioles,
300 to 1.
oh, it's got to be higher than that. There's no way.
At 47 wins, you're probably right.
I mean,
It's probably 470.
You might be looking at like 1,000 to 1 odds
True.
to win the World Series. And I'm saying, like,
put 100 down, clear 100K.
yeah.
God.
No, but I'm saying, like, say you had 100 that you were willing to throw away on this experiment.
yeah.
Maybe you'd put 25 on the World Series and 75 on the American League.
If it was 1,000 to 1,
Yeah.
I would put 100 on both.
Would you?
It's $100,000 for a $100 bet. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd put 100 down just in case.
Nah, true. All right. Well,
1,000 to 1? That's ridiculous.
let's look around at the odds and see what's up.
Yeah, and then wait, and then first of all, wait, you never get paid
what's
out.
What's the version of patent pending here? Like,
By the way,
what's the
you
version
never,
of Vegas pending?
You never get paid out if they see that you put a bet in what is today, October of the year before. They're just like, no,
The playoffs aren't even over yet for the previous season.
No. We're not honoring this bet. I don't know who took this bet. This is not a good bet.
Listen, we're gonna give you $200 back for each one of these bets. You've made money.
Right.
Feel good about yourself.
Okay, yeah. You placed 3 bets. They were all $100. You lost 2 of them. We're gonna give you $200 per bet. That's $600 total. We're gonna call that even. You made a little money with interest.
I like
What's
that.
going on?
I like the pillow moving.
All right. So now
Sorry,
we're done with sports.
Now we're done with sports.
Yes. I want to jump down one topic.
Okay.
Not that we're running out of time, but Ben Jealous is running for Maryland governor. And
Who?
I had not heard yeah, exactly. I had not heard this story, but you told me about it earlier when we were doing show prep, and I just think it's amazing because when you're running for governor of Maryland, you really only have one job, and that's to let people know that you're running for governor of Maryland.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is a bridge too far for Ben Jealous.
Yeah. Ben Jealous at a event was giving a speech, and it's the usual political speech. You've seen it before, but he builds up to this big moment where he goes, and that's why I'm fighting for everyone here. That's why I'm fighting for you. That's why I want you to elect me, Ben Jealous, the next governor of Virginia.
Like, how do you fuck that up? Like,
And,
you've been running for the governor of Maryland.
Believe me, Hogan's campaign has already taken this video and made plenty of hay with it. I don't
See, but here's the thing, though. If you're Hogan, I feel like that backfires. Because, yeah, he said governor of Virginia. But, if you're making hay out of it, I think you burn a bridge more than you do.
How do you make that mistake? No, that's one of those ones that you gotta yeah, it'd be like if you were mic'd for the Oscars, or anytime one of those it's like a Snickers commercial, like the wanna get away moments.
Yeah.
If you were backstage at the Oscar and you had the lavalier on, and it's just you're about to announce best actress or something like that, and you're just why do we? Yeah, why do we even have a best actress? Women aren't worth it. And then you find out that was broadcast throughout the entire state, through the entire theater, and you're just oh shit. Well, my career's over.
And the nominees are
the very deserving nominees who I clearly respect a lot.
they've done so much good work for the industry. So much good work.
Now Ben Jealous is no, listen, I love Maryland. Fuck Virginia.
It
was a Freudian slip. I had an ex-girlfriend named Virginia. She was on my mind. That's how it came out. I'm sorry.
Wait, you're thinking about some ex-girlfriend? Your wife standing right next to you? I mean,
what I meant was, I was thinking about the train song, Hey Virginia.
A train went past. It made me think of Train. Then I started thinking about Hey Virginia.
And then I was just you know what? Train's really not that bad of a band. I think people give them a lot more
Wait,
shit
are you
than
saying Train's not a horrible band?
Oh my God, how do I dig myself out of this?
In the end, he's already not doing well. I mean, the polling that I saw was he's, in the 40s.
I mean, it's a tight race. I don't know what
You really?
What?
Is it really that tight?
Well, I mean,
thought
tight,
Hogan was
no. I mean, tight in the sense that Maryland is 70% Democratic, and
Hogan's polling very well.
Yeah, and Hogan's essentially polling near 50%, which is if this was a generic ballot where it was just a generic Republican versus a generic Democrat, then he should be down by 20 points right now.
Sure. Yeah.
But because Hogan is sort of a moderate Republican,
Yeah.
and he's
Anti-Trump-ish.
he's well liked.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what the fuck Jealous does.
Or what he stands for.
Yeah.
Honestly, the research I've done about Ben Jealous has been, why are you running for governor? I don't really understand. Honestly, half the reason he is the candidate right now is because Kamenetz had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And God bless him and R.I.P. Kamenetz was he was the guy.
Yeah, he was
the
one
guy who was
being
going to take
sort
down
of
Hogan.
groomed for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's sad when I know more about your positions based off of what Hogan's saying than by what you've said.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I can think about regarding Jealous's positions right now is the Hogan line of, well, if you liked Martin O'Malley, you're gonna love Ben Jealous.
Yeah.
That one stuck with me more than anything that Ben Jealous has said.
Yeah.
And that is great ability to politically sway by Hogan, and a terrible job by the Jealous campaign of not getting out there. I feel like after the who was the lieutenant governor who didn't?
Kathleen Kennedy Townsend?
No, the more recent
Anthony
one.
Brown.
Anthony Brown. Where Anthony Brown basically didn't campaign until the last week of the year.
I got this in the bag.
He's I'm a Democrat running for governor of Maryland. I'm
Hogan?
good.
Who's Hogan?
Yeah.
By the way, he's the governor. He's the governor of Maryland right now. That's who he is.
Some Montgomery County, some so or no so. I don't even have to worry about this.
Who cares?
Yeah. Anywho,
Oh, but he got backed by Obama. Jealous got backed by Obama.
Yeah.
And this is a push on what I am despising about this election cycle, which is vote for any Democrat. And I just have to be like, no, you can't just tell me let's vote for any Democrat. The team culture is so ridiculous. The team culture is what gives us Brett Kavanaugh being confirmed to the Supreme Court.
Well, hold on. Tied into these two thoughts, I would like to get your thoughts on something.
Okay.
Joe Manchin of West Virginia was the single Democrat who voted to confirm Kavanaugh.
And he will not have a seat in 2020.
Well, he's up for re-election this year.
Oh, I thought it was 2020.
No.
Okay. Does he feel
involved-
secure enough?
Well, I mean, it's either him or a Republican. So I think the Democrats of West Virginia have to decide whether or not they want to vote for a Republican rather than him.
So I mean, maybe he's gotten in the spot where that's where he is. He's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Vote for the Republican?
And I can vote for the once I know that Kavanaugh is going to be confirmed, whether or not I vote for him or not, I can vote for him and make some of the right leaning West Virginian voters who I need to attract. Say like, well, he's going to vote for Kavanaugh, so
save Pence the effort of breaking the tie, which is all that he really did.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, no, I mean, this is the shit that I hate. This is this is why I say, and one of my no, I didn't put it in the notes here. I think I put it on Facebook or Twitter probably. The Republic is done. If you think that the Republic remains at all, look at the picture of Anthony Kennedy, the now out SCOTUS justice, swearing in the man who he gave up the seat for. He sold his seat to the Trump administration for his protege, and his son, Anthony Kennedy's son, received a payoff for doing so.
Yeah.
So that is the end of the Republic. And when they literally paraded this farce in front of all of us, and we allowed it.
I think you could make the argument that the farce goes back to Merrick Garland too.
And did you hear McConnell's clarification on Sunday morning?
Yeah, about if there was an opening in 2020,
yes,
that he would
because the clarification of the Biden rule is the Senate is held by the party opposite the president.
Right.
If it's held by the party with the president, well then we should push forward with a nomination.
Here's my lesson for Democrats that I would like to
start shooting at Republicans.
Well, I mean that's one option.
Isn't that what? Wait, didn't we start doing that already? Didn't like a baseball game and a bunch of people got shot at?
I don't want to get into that.
I feel like we should move that direction.
That guy was a little bit criminally deranged.
Perhaps I'm criminally deranged.
Perhaps. No, but I mean,
not that I'm advocating for that. Of course.
Listen, I think that the thing that really bothers me is that everyone is so upset with Mitch McConnell right now.
Yeah.
But what Mitch McConnell is doing is winning.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't give a shit how he wins. He just wins.
Yes.
And you probably don't like Mitch McConnell because most people don't like Mitch McConnell.
McConnell doesn't like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah,
he just looks like a guy who gets home at night like, I hate myself.
It's like, this is the day I do it. This is the day I kill myself.
Yeah. Do you think he's got a revolver at home and he just like every night pops one in? Zzz, clunk. Not today.
All right, Judy, send me Drew.
All right, Judy. Let's see. What can we do tomorrow? We're going to stick some kids in cages. Come on, fate. Zzz, what do you got for me? Click. All right. Rapist on the Supreme Court. What do you got? Come on. Yeah, every day he's just like, there is no God. There is no God, clearly.
No, but I mean, like, think about it this way. So, earlier, it was like halfway through last month.
Okay.
Schumer made a deal with McConnell to approve like 10 judges that were up for a federal appeals courts and stuff like that.
What do you get in exchange for that?
So that everyone could go home and campaign.
Yep.
Thank you. I was blanking on the word. And if the roles were reversed, if the Democrats had the House and the Democrats had the Senate and Schumer was the majority leader and McConnell was the minority leader.
Yep.
There is not one fucking chance in hell that McConnell would let that happen.
No.
Not a chance that McConnell would let that happen. And whether or not you want to say like, oh, McConnell's a real bad guy or something like that, McConnell, he works for very rich people who have a political thought process, like the Kochs and the Mercers and everyone like this. And he's just getting paid to be the person who does all the things that they want to do. So
he is a win or burn the house down.
Yeah,
Either win the house in the divorce or burn it down. But either way, I'm gonna have the house, or you're gonna have nothing, one way or another.
Right.
That's it.
And I think it's about fucking time that the Democrats. The problem is that the Republicans. Anytime the Democrats do anything unsavory, the Republicans have their moment where they're just like, "This is a shocking new low. The Democrats have brought us down here," and the fact that they have an echo chamber in which to express these messages. Like Lindsey Graham goes off on Republicans during the Kavanaugh testimony.
Yeah.
And that gets played every 15 minutes on the 15 minutes on Fox News for an entire week, where he's talking about like, oh, you guys want power so bad, I hope you never get it, and stuff like that. That gets played all the goddamn time.
Yep.
Cory Booker looking dissatisfied with the answers that Kavanaugh is giving him is not something that plays all fucking weekend long on MSNBC, because people, there's nothing there. I kept saying during the whole process, like when Kavanaugh did it the first time, when Kavanaugh went up to before the misconduct allegations and stuff like that, I said he wrote in memos during the Ken Starr investigation about exposing Clinton to very specific sexualized questions to make him uncomfortable and to make this more about sex than it actually was.
Yep. Yep.
And like sort of fill the room with it. So I said before the first round of questioning that Kavanaugh went through, Booker should go up there and just be like, all right, so I'd like to ask you a whole bunch of very specific questions about sex, because apparently, according to your own memo, that's all right.
Yep.
So how many times have you ever fucked a girl anally without a condom? Put it out there. Make them answer the goddamn question. Nobody's going to remember whether or not Cory Booker was the person who did that or not.
But Cory Booker's worried.
Forget these things.
But Cory Booker's worried that they will remember that because he wants to run for president in 2020.
Well, also, Cory Booker is worried that some percentage of his constituency is going to be really upset that he went as low as the Republicans would to try and prove a point about, well, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to throw all his sex things out there. That's just that's a new low, Booker. No, Mitch McConnell don't give a shit about that. Cory Booker shouldn't either.
Yes.
And
I
furthermore, if I know these guys are all worried about doing something illegal and getting sent to jail, but maybe Cory Booker at just some point, or find a senator who's never going to run for president. Just make it your goon, your enforcer, like on a hockey team. You got one really big, stupid guy who never plays. He plays 2 minutes a game. He gets suspended all the fucking time. All he does is go out there and hit people.
I passed my time to Senator Cheek. All right.
And
let's talk, guys.
That's when Senator Cheek gets up, grabs his chair, throws it across the room, hits Grassley in the face, and he's like, "Anarchy! Anarchy!"
No, so I saw a meme earlier today. If any of you watched the Conor McGregor fight this past weekend, you would have seen him get the shit choked out of him by his competitor, whose name I don't know.
Some Russian guy.
Yeah, some Russian guy. But at one point, after he gets after the choke is done and he taps, the ref of course splits him up, and Conor gives this look over his shoulder, and he throws his shoulder back as if to say you didn't even really get me, even though he literally just tapped.
Yeah. And
the Russian guy goes in all right, fine, we can keep going. I already got you once, I'll get you to tap again. And the ref, of course, great. No, fight over. So I saw a meme of that moment where Conor's looking over his shoulder and the ref is holding them apart. And it's Republicans down on the mat. The true left is the Russian guy standing over him. And then Democrats are the ref standing in the middle. We cannot just hit them when they're down. You can't get down on their level and get dirty and beat the shit out of them because, well, we don't want to sink to their level. Well, you know what? They're winning. They are continuing to win. They put 2 people on the Supreme Court. The next opening is what, Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Probably.
If that happens before 2020, which God, let's hope not. But I mean, she's 85 years old. Then after that, when's the next opening for a conservative to be replaced?
We
talked about it last week.
72 is Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. So he's 10 years younger than Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's always the off chance that, he could have a heart attack or something like that. I'm not hoping or wishing that people have heart attacks, but I'm saying, like, you never know with this sort of thing.
Or that, God willing,
old people,
the earth opens up under the Supreme Court, swallows the whole thing while Ruth Bader Ginsburg's doing her workout at her apartment building.
She's the only one left.
She's just kicking it.
So it's like,
she gets to work and there's a hole in the ground.
Let's take a look at this Roe vs. Wade thing that we got going on here. Something got appealed up to the Supreme Court, I see. Well, it looks like I'm the only one here, RGB. So I'll just sign this one. Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
And there you go.
Or she could even probably be in the court when the earth opens up, swallows the court, and like, everyone comes rushing over, and there she is hanging onto the edge. Like, you're not taking me yet, devil!
Just on a chandelier, this little 80-pound woman just like, I ain't going like this.
Somebody lift me up, please.
Ain't nobody taking Ruth Bader Ginsburg down like this. Some bitch move.
Where's Merrick Garland? In the hole. In the hole. Gone.
Stretched across the hole, trying to keep Bader from going through. I got you, Ruth.
Anyway.
I would like to. The thing that has constantly been kicking through my mind this whole week, because I feel really terrible for everybody who was trying to do something to make sure Kavanaugh didn't go through, and I know that. In the long run, even if they had pulled Kavanaugh and put in another name, like, people wouldn't be happy the fact that there's another Republican justice.
Yeah.
So, and there would have been another Republican at some point. There would have been another Republican justice.
Yes.
So let's just move past that fact and start thinking about things that we actually can control for the future of the Republic.
Okay.
And the number one thing that I think everyone needs to focus on is that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million votes. But the biggest block in the electorate was people who didn't vote at all.
Sure.
It was essentially 50% of the population voted for president, either
more or less.
Less. But I'm saying, like,
about 35%.
You could say a quarter voted for Trump, a quarter voted for Hillary, and then half the country didn't fucking vote. So
well, actually, to be fair, about 18% voted for Hillary, 17% voted for Trump, and 65% did not vote.
Yeah, so
that's far more likely.
So if you have 10 friends, 6 of them didn't vote.
Yes.
So maybe do what you can to try and convince those people who have never voted before or don't vote to vote, because they're more, just generally speaking, people are more liberal than conservative.
Or we could just recognize that if voting changed anything, they wouldn't let us do it anymore and say, screw it, realizing that voting means nothing at all.
Well, if you're voting in the same stupid people, I mean, I feel like...
no, because that's the problem.
Specifically going with, like, Manchin, right? Because we were talking about, like...
Sure.
You can't... If you're a Democrat and you're hoping to get control of the Senate, you have to lay in the Manchin bed. You have to hope that he wins.
Yeah. So
that he is a Democrat in your stable when you have control of the Senate. Because you can't primary him now because we're a month away from the election.
Except for he has not proven that he is in your constituency in the Senate.
He has been for the most important Democratic issues.
But has he? Because Kavanaugh, I would argue, is one of long-term justice appointment is the most important issue.
Right, but I'm saying as far as in his mind, I can clearly see where he says, as soon as Susan Collins says that she's voting yes, there's no way. My vote just makes it 50-50.
And oh, by the way, he did leave.
Pence breaks it.
He left for the roll call, let everyone else vote, and then came back.
Yeah.
To vote. So I get that.
But I'm saying, if everyone who doesn't vote starts voting, then number one, there's going to be more Democrats in office because there's just more people who lean Democratic in life.
How about
Even if they don't vote, they would be more likely to vote for Democrats. But the most important thing is stop letting these goddamn Democrats who are in office right now keep doing what they're doing.
Okay.
Because they're all goddamn cowards. They're all ridiculous. And I can't take it anymore. I can't. I lean conservative. So I don't really give a shit that often if conservative principles go through. There are ones that really bother. No, fuck you.
He leans conservative.
There are issues that I am way more progressive on, but I'm saying that, you know, as far as like taxes and stuff like that, I'd be more likely to
National socialism, all right? National socialism.
Oh my god.
Go ahead.
But I'm saying, like, maybe if you start electing Democrats who aren't being bought and paid for by Wall Street, or start doing things that most of it, you know, if there was somebody who was running for office that said, the first day on the job, I'm instructing the Justice Department to look into every single brokerage firm, every single Wall Street bank, every single,
the president's the only one who can do that.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, if
how about this? Stop voting for Republicans and Democrats. Again, 65% of people didn't vote. So if you're like, you know what, I just didn't vote because I didn't like either of the candidates, find one that you like and go vote for him, or encourage them to run. Or, hey, half of Democrats and half of Republicans who said, I only voted for this person because there wasn't another better option, go find a better option and vote for them. Start putting out better candidates.
Mm-hmm.
This is all assuming that voting matters, which, by the way, I'm sorry to tell you guys, it doesn't. None of this fucking matters, because you here in California, in Maryland, in Massachusetts, where the majority of our people are listening, nothing's going to change. You might elect a different Democrat, and that's great. We might turn the 7th or the 6th district of Maryland or the 1st district of Maryland blue from red. Mm-hmm. That's great.
You might elect somebody like Ocasio-Cortez, who is more left than the person that she's replacing.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Great.
It doesn't do anything to replace Cruz, who is, by the way, just had $1.1 million dumped into the campaign for ads. And Beto got a warning from the FEC. Why? Because all of his donations, or like 80% of his donations, are less than $20, and they're like, that seems suspicious to us. Why aren't you raising big money from a few donors? Why would you get so much money from so few or so many donors?
Yeah.
This doesn't seem right.
We're going to investigate. No.
Yeah, Bernie also got the same warning, by the way. So, don't vote.
Just
don't worry about it.
Don't. I'm telling everyone to vote.
No, don't vote. What's the fucking point of voting? This is what voting gets you. Voting does nothing. Again, if voting allowed any real substantial change, they wouldn't let us do it. The Koch brothers' first move would be to stop voting if voting actually got anything done. All voting does is keep you docile, because it makes you think that, oh, well, you know, I did everything that I could. I went to the ballot and I voted, so I guess this is the government we get. No. 1776, 1787, 1986 in France, they did the same thing. 2007 in Iceland, they said, we're done with this. We're going to march into the government and say, you are going to change, or else we are going to change you.
Yeah.
Action is all of these people who are in the Hart building getting arrested. How about this? When the cop puts his hands on you, you stab him in the throat. There's only so many of them, and there's a lot more of you. And you take the building by force, and you start occupying the building. How about that? And when the senators start creeping out of their offices to get out of there because they're scared, you stab them in the throat.
Yeah.
And then we see what we have when we're done with all that.
If a bunch of really angry women stab Mitch McConnell in the throat, that's going to get a message across.
I think so. Or even better, Susan Collins, because honestly, I don't know. One, she's going to get she's probably going to get primaried.
Yeah.
For her hemming and hawing and nonsense. But she'll definitely lose.
There's already been
general.
$3 million in contributions to whoever will eventually be her Democratic
And it looks
opponent.
like Ambassador Rice is now running.
DeRay
McKesson is talking about going to Maine to help run the campaign, and I'll withhold judgment on that. But all I'm saying is, if voting did anything, all of you fucking liberals who get all antsy, like, I'm going to go out and get arrested. How about this? Don't let them arrest you. When they put your hands on them, you break their hand. And when they send somebody else after you, you stab them in the throat. And when they pepper spray you, you pepper spray them right back. You give them as good as they give you, and eventually there's way more of us than there is of them. There's way more. Did you see the crowds in DC?
Yeah.
There was like 4,000 people on the mall, and they were controlled by 100 of the Capitol Police.
Yeah.
How is that possible? What is wrong with all of you? You're just gonna because you want to cause a scene and get arrested? That doesn't change anything.
This is the thing though. And this is the point I've been making to you here recently as well, which is the only way you're really going to make the change, I agree, is if there is if you rise up against the government and overthrow them.
Yeah.
Which is protected in the government in the Constitution.
Yes.
You're allowed to overthrow the government. I mean, like
the ways in which you would overthrow the government are protected.
Yeah.
The speeches that you would give to overthrow the government, the arms that you would have in order to overthrow the government.
Right.
These are all things that are protected in the Constitution. They basically said, here's the playbook of how we overthrew our king. So if this ever happens again, we're leaving you the power to do it again. Just keep that in mind.
See, but the problem is, and this is what I've been saying to you recently, is that the Democrats or people to the left, I won't put them in with the party necessarily.
Sure.
But the left is not, they're just never going to get off the pot. They're never going to get to the point where they say, oh, Tuesday's the day we overthrow the government, and we don't take no for an answer, and they try to arrest us, we break wrists, and we're gonna go into every single Republican's office one by one and start mowing them down. Like, they're never gonna get to that point. They're never gonna get to the point where they want to overthrow the government because they just the mental capacity of the people who are on the left side of center is just like, oh, let's work it out. Let's talk about it. And then there's a small percentage of people who are really loud and making it seem like we're all ready to start overthrowing the government. But it's never going to fucking happen because the people who you need to make a big enough crowd to actually overthrow the government are not going to be there when you need them.
I think you're wrong about that. I think that you're identifying.
What's going to happen is you're going to get 10 people to show up at the Capitol, throwing smoke bombs from the outside and getting arrested by Capitol Police, saying that they're overthrowing the government, and 10 people isn't going to do it. It's just going to be 10 really crazy left-wing activists who get arrested for no good reason.
You are identifying the entire left as Democrats. Democrats are not the left; they're the center.
I get it. That's why I was trying to amend that.
I think the other part of it is that things that nobody sees is that the left is organizing itself. And I hate to say this because I feel like it kills the thing that you're trying to do. But the left is organizing itself. And eventually there will be a popular front. The problem is the Democrats were the big tent party. Like, we welcome everybody. And the problem with the left that's left of the Democrats is you have to just shut the fuck up sometimes. You have to just say, listen, we don't all agree on what should come next. But we all agree that this sucks. So can we just agree that this sucks and agree to band together to get rid of this? And then let's just agree we'll fight amongst ourselves about the next thing afterward. The problem is, and I mean, listen, I went to Occupy Baltimore, right? I got kicked out of Occupy Baltimore for trying to organize within the thing. So I was asked to leave and not to return. But the whole idea of Occupy was that there's too many fucking voices and everybody feels like we should have our own. No. How about this? This is not how popular fronts are formed. Popular fronts are formed by saying, what do we have in common? We all think the Supreme Court's corrupt and that they're not doing the voice of the people, that the government is corrupt and that there's too much money in politics. We can all agree with that, right? And the only way we're going to get rid of that is by violently overthrowing the government. Great. What can we do to achieve those ends? Oh, you're a Maoist and you think that that the state should provide iron rice bowl. So from the time you're born to the time you die, you should get housing and food and job guarantees and everything. Great. And you're a Leninist and you think that that there's some bits of capitalism that are okay, that you can have private ownership, or the state can give ownership to private individuals. Okay, who the fuck cares? Because none of this is going to matter in the system that we currently have. I know, I'm sorry, getting mad. None of this is going to matter in the system we currently have. What I'm telling you, though, is the left is organizing itself. And it's saying, hey, you think that maybe a little bit more state ownership is good. And I think that state ownership is always bad. And then there's anarchists who are like, no state anything. And I'm just saying, hey, great. We can all agree that the state sucks. Let's deal with that first.
You understand that all the people you're talking about, like the anarchists and the Leninists and everything like that, that makes up, like, honestly, probably 1% of the global, of like all the people in America.
You are out of your mind.
The people who are that extreme.
But that's not about being extreme.
Most people don't fucking vote. And part of, but like, all this talk all this week has been about, like, you know, like, oh, Republicans don't give a shit about women because if they cared about women, they wouldn't let Kavanaugh through. If they're listening to all these women who are showing up every single day at the Hart Building or on the National Mall or anything like this protesting, and realize that this would affect their ability to win in November and forward, then they wouldn't do it. But here's the thing. Here's the McConnell logic that he's not going to say out loud, but is part of his thing. These women aren't going to actually fucking vote. The ones who show up might be the ones who were already voting. Yeah. But you're not going to pull somebody who never voted before into an election, at least not with enough numbers to overturn things.
Did you see
and what
that
you
BBC?
need to concern yourself with is not the 50% of people in California who didn't vote, because those 50% of people in California are probably just going to be Democrats anyway. Yeah. And they're going to just add more to the Democratic vote already. What you need is to pull in the 50% of people who are in Alabama who didn't vote. Kentucky or any other
Mitch McConnell.
Any other red state. Like if everyone who didn't vote in Texas decided to vote this election
and vote Democrat
and vote for Beto. Well, and just numbers speaking, they would probably be more likely to vote for Beto than they would be for Ted Cruz, because people don't like Ted Cruz. Yes. So if you got the 50% of Texas who didn't vote, you'd probably get more votes for Beto than you would for Ted Cruz. And seeing as it's already a toss-up race right now, you'd get Beto in the Senate. But the problem is that you can't talk to your aunt who's never voted before because she thinks it's all fucked up and it's not. There's no point in it, because she's just not gonna do it. Like, that's the divide you have to cross. Because just look at the vote with Kavanaugh, right? Mm-hmm. He was nominated by a president who lost the popular vote. Yeah. And then he was confirmed in the smallest vote total since like the 1880s or something like that. Yep. By all the senators from the minority of populations of states. And I know that's kind of just fucked up that California has 2 senators and Vermont has 2 senaters. Yeah. And it's not fucked up. That's how it's designed. Oh, I know. And they all have the same amount of power. And that makes it difficult for, making the argument that the populist opinion isn't being heard. But I mean, like, by the way,
the two senators from Wyoming, meaning the 600,000 people in Wyoming, had a say. The 700,000 people in D.C. don't have a say.
Right.
The 3.3 million people in Puerto Rico don't have a say.
Right.
The 1.5 million people in the other U.S. territories, like the Marianas Islands,
Guam,
all of these places, had no say. But the 600,000 people in Wyoming had 2 says, had 2 votes in that.
And honestly, it was the 300,000 people in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who voted.
Right. But
I'm saying we had a Supreme Court nominee voted on by the senators who don't make up the largest the population of the states that voted for Kavanaugh are less than the states that didn't vote for Kavanaugh by a huge, overwhelming margin, because Democratic states are California, New York, Illinois, where there's people. There's hundreds of millions of people.
This system is designed this way. It's not a flaw. It's like saying,
I'm not saying
hey, I turned on the burner and my food got hot. I don't know how it happened.
I'm not saying it's a fault of the system, because we have the Congress, which is supposed to be population relevant.
Sure.
But I mean, like, what the point I'm trying to make here is that Democrats are gonna keep losing this battle unless they get people who didn't vote to vote.
Yeah.
Or
if we make voting irrelevant. That's my argument. You're saying more people should vote. I'm saying more people should not care about voting.
Or every single goddamn election, like right around this time, there's going to be some article that's written where it says, like, is this the election where young people vote? And then you look at the voting records at the end, and you see that people who are 80 years old vote at like 80%, and people who are 20 years old vote at 20%. And that's the fucked up. you gotta change that if you want to win.
I mentioned a minute ago the BBC ad where it's just a bunch of old people and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to vote. Trump, we did that. You know you're not going to go out and vote. Who cares? Just stay at home. You know? And I mean, that's the thing is, but again, there are two different philosophies. That one, voting matters and we can change things.
McConnell knows that angry women are not going to come for him.
True.
That's why he decided to go through with the vote.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have done it. If he thought there was going to be any political fallout for this, then he wouldn't have done it.
Or if he thought you would show up at his house and stab him in the throat, he also wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Because whatever money he's getting from the Koch brothers, which I'm imagining is immense.
Yes.
Both personally and otherwise. I imagine that, like, he's got a car that's in the name of some corporation that, or like a house that's in the name of some shell company. Anyway, nonetheless, it all sucks, and the republic's over. And I encourage people to research the third century of the Roman Republic. Basically, this is what happened. The Senate basically just started representing only the rich landowning people, and said, "Well, I mean, the poor people don't really matter." And they just started making laws that benefited only themselves. And then slowly but surely, the republic crumbled. And that's where we are now. And again, the picture of Anthony Kennedy, who sold his seat on the Supreme Court, his lifetime appointment was sold so that to his protege, his super conservative protege. It just is ridiculous. It's a farce. And they did it right in front of us, and nobody cares.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that this was a big story that got lost in the shuffle because it happened right in the middle of Kavanaugh. But the talk about all the ways that the Trump family has done to avoid paying taxes for his entire life and most of his father's is absurd. And it's like one of those things, like, if I can afford to pay for an accountant who knows all these little tiny tricks, then I can keep more of my money. Right. And technically it's not wrong because there's no law against it.
Yep.
But you're swindling the pot out of all this tax money.
And you're also, in some cases, according to that story, getting payments, getting money back from the government.
Well, so like one of the things that was in that story was when Fred Trump, Donald's father, had started a company. And the company was designed to purchase appliances for apartments that the Trumps were owning.
Yeah.
So this company would purchase a refrigerator. Let's just make it a even number. Would purchase a refrigerator for $100.
Yeah.
And then the Trump Corporation would buy that refrigerator from the second corporation for $500. Mm-hmm. And then the $400 of profit would just go directly to the Trump kids who owned that second company.
Right, yeah.
So they would just split the profit as a allowance of sorts. And that was like $800,000 a month when Trump was 3 years old.
Yeah.
He was making $800,000 a month as a 3-year-old because there was a way for his father to not illegally, but definitely immorally send money tax-free to his children.
Yep.
And if I don't pay $8 worth of taxes that are due to the government, I could find myself in jail.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to afford the super fancy accountant who figures out a way to either keep me out of jail or make up for that grievous error of $8 off.
Or the lawyer, by the way.
Yeah, or any of these things.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, Trump is finding ways to keep more of his money, which, this is nothing new. You can look back at the Panama Papers, or you can look back at Apple is still incorporated in Ireland.
We glossed over the Panama Papers. We just completely forgot that
blew past that.
The entire country is basically hiding wealth in third world countries, and we're not doing anything about it. So, sure.
Yeah, on the back of your iPhone, it says "Made in California." You know where all the money goes? Ireland.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they don't have taxes. They don't charge corporate taxes. That's why if you had zero corporate tax in America, more of these companies would stay in America. But because we have, infrastructure and...
By the way, I mentioned to somebody I was thinking about getting the Pokephone today, and they were like, "You're going to buy a Chinese phone?" While they were holding their iPhone. And I was like, where the fuck do you think that's made? And he was like, California? I'm like, no.
No, it's not.
No. First of all, it's not even put together in California. It was designed in California.
Yeah.
It's put together in China.
It was designed in California by a Swede, by the way.
Yeah.
So
put together in China, and the profits are sent to Ireland. So do that math. I at least am buying a cheaper phone, which is probably produced at a loss, just so the company can get market share, and the profits are kept in China. So, listen, I would say, arguably, because the profits are kept in China, it's more American. Why? I am helping to fund America's debt. All of that money going to Ireland is doing nothing for us. At least the money I'm spending in China is coming back to America in the form of treasury bills that we are selling to help finance the $3.8 trillion that we gave rich people this year.
I would love at some point, if we have a slow week where we don't have anything going on, can we talk about how trade works?
Yes.
Because I feel like some of the people who watch Trump too much are completely misconstrued about Trump doesn't know how fucking trade works.
Or it might be a good episode of something that we've been kicking around.
Oh, there we go.
And something complicated that can be explained very simply.
Yeah.
If you understand it well enough.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll think about that.
Well, talking about things that are really complicated but can be explained simply, OTheAnthem.com. Corey to OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com. Check out the Stage 32 blog that I wrote. And the most recent film review is up. Another one is coming probably tomorrow. And I'm going to see...
Is it another topical movie?
Yeah, Peppermint, I imagine, is still available to be seen somewhere.
I don't think it is.
You can go to the Beltway 6 movie theater and see it. And if you've been vacillating whether or not you want to go, then tomorrow's review will be perfect for you. And then,
do you want to spend the $4 at the Beltway 6 or not?
And then after that, I will be back caught up so I can go and see. Part of the problem was that there were so many bad movies that were out in the last month that I was like, do I really want to go and watch some movie just so I can make a review when I don't have time to do it anyway? I'm already on these 16-hour days of editing and stuff like that.
We were also talking about burning Movie Pass. We only get 3. Do we want to burn it on a so-so movie or hold out?
We would rather wait and then be able to do A Star Is Born, First Man, and Venom or something.
First Man, though, I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
actually, I that's apparently an early release in LA, so we should see if we can find that somewhere.
I really want to see the Laurel and Hardy movie too. Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer for it. So. But again, those are the things where we can't plan that. When you only get 3 per month, it's hard to plan out your month because you're something's gonna pop up that last week that I'm really gonna want my Movie Pass for, and I know if I burn them, I'm not gonna have it. So,
or I might say I gotta hold First Man until the end of the month because it doesn't come out till the end of the month, and then I find out that I'm gonna be on set for 2.5 weeks and I'm working 12-hour days and I'm not gonna be able to go to the movies. That's part of the problem.
Or Movie Pass is gonna blank you out for that for 2 weeks anyway.
I gotta go to goddamn Downey to go see First Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Yeah. And of course, you can find more from me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, as it says right there. And you can check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
I found out from a reader today that 2 of the books are out of print on Amazon. So going to be looking into that and figuring out what that situation is. But you can get a copy of Faux. Do you know how much a copy of Faux is going for on Amazon right now?
34 cents.
$424. Right?
What?
Yes.
I remember once at Nelson's, somebody was selling a bumper sticker, which we were giving away for free.
Yes.
For $200 on eBay. And I'm just like, this person is fucking out of their mind.
So the person who bought my newest book and then said, oh, I was going to go get Faux as well. But I clicked on the going to find it, and the first copy was $424. And I said, hey, I like his book. Probably not that much. And then she scrolled down. There was a copy available for $80. So,
Listen, I'm a really good friend of yours. I think this has been established.
Yes.
I'm not spending $400 on your book. It's a bridge too far.
Well, one other thing we're working on is the possibility of audiobooks.
Yes.
Maybe coming to a Audible near you.
And other audio available streaming stuff. So
yes, we're working on a bunch of stuff.
And I haven't heard a confirmation of this yet. Maybe this week's episode will also be on Spotify. So
Fingers
I will
crossed.
let you know for sure once I officially see us on Spotify. But
Yes.
apparently you like get into the queue and then they add you with your next episode.
Yeah.
So maybe it happens this week. Maybe it happens next. Maybe it never happens. I don't know.
I was going to say, somebody else who got at it about the same time that we did said, oh, we're on Spotify this week, but they do theirs at the end of the week and Friday episode, and they didn't appear. So I don't want to say for sure we'll be on Spotify.
But we're working on it.
We may be on Spotify.
If you really like Spotify as your podcast app of choice,
Check it out.
just hold tight. We're working on it.
I really want to be able to go on Instagram and say, find us on Spotify.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Anyway,
Well, I think we've done good here today.
we've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Angry women, rise up.
I know, for real?
Yeah,
It's the year of the woman.
yeah.
Start stabbing
Oh
Mitch
man,
McConnell in the throat.
I'm so ready for the angry women on election day.
I don't think they're going to be angry enough, but I'm looking forward to angry women on the American Bastille Day. Blood in the streets. Don't, not like that.
Yeah,
Gross.
you idiot.